Welcome everybody to 1 hour of miniature goodness, and today we are doing arachnids or giant spiders. This is Arakoth, the ancient one, by Reaper Miniatures. This actual spider is sculpted by Andy Piper. Now Andy Piper isn't as big as Bobby Jackson and the rest of them, so for me it's really nice to actually have a few sculpts that are from different sculptors, and Andy Piper is absolutely amazing. This is a very nice sculpt, so Andy, well done, good stuff. Okay, let me just say hello to everybody in chat so far. Now I know Scorp is up the top there. I've got Gareth. Oh, it's gone. It's gone again. So I see Gareth. I see James is in the house. I see Michelle's in the house. Bull GM's in the house. Stuart's in the house. Can't see anyone. Oh, anyone else? Antal. Okay, so so let's make a start. Now, this is an absolutely beast of a miniature. It's absolutely gorgeous. This was from the Bones 5 Kickstarter. It's a multi-part kit. So what I'm going to show you first is I have got two of these spiders. So what I've done a little Blue Peter special with a few of the things, but I need to show you a few things to do before you actually start painting your spider. Now, it's a multi-part kit, so you've got to stick all the legs on individual, and you have to make sure they're in the right slots, because there are slots, little holes on the base here and here, here and here, which you want the legs to go in. Now, thankfully, they are marked left and right, so you shouldn't have too much of a problem. But what I did notice with this miniature is there's a little gap that goes around when you've sealed the back big bum end on this miniature. Anyway, what you can use is some plastic putty from Vallejo. Very simple, and this is my favorite go-to putty for filling in gaps. And as you can see here, you can see the gap going around. All we need to do is we just squirt in the putty. Very simple, and we just go around the whole of that area there. Just follow the gap around, and this will fill in all your gaps for all your miniatures. I can't recommend this plastic putty enough. And all you do with your finger is just go over the putty with the finger, and that'll smooth it down into the gap, and that's your gap sealed. And you just do this all the way around where the gap is. It works on all your dragons, works on metal as well, so this putty is absolutely fab. I buy this putty from Amazon. Well worth it. It's about £3 for a little tube of this putty. Now, of course, you want the tube, because the tube you can actually squirt on like toothpaste, like I'm doing. As you can see, the gap is quite large on this side here. And again, this putty will just fill it in nice and easy. Just follow the gap round. And once again, with your finger, you can just take off the excess, and it will smooth it nicely down. And that's it. That's your spider. Once that's dried, you are ready for priming. Now, we're doing a spider, so I am going black. I'm going dark colours today. The paints I shall be using today are Dragon Black for the primer. We've got some wood stained brown, which is my favourite brown, as you know. A little bit of white, because we shall be adding some white to the black to make greys, and a little bit of white for the brown. We shall use some alien goo for the eyes, as I want it to be a poisonous spider, so I want the eyes to look like it's poison. And we got some turf green for the base. So, for the actual spider, we'll move this base. We'll move on to the base in a moment. But what I've done is, with the magic of cinema, ka-ching, ka-ching. Here's one I primed earlier. We'll chuck that down there. Now, all I've done with this spider so far is I've painted Dragon Black by MSP. The whole miniature is just Dragon Black, nothing more. Okay, so to paint this miniature, it's such a simple paint. You don't have to go into tons and tons of detail. What we're trying to do is a dark, menacing figure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding more Dragon Black to my palette. It's magic. So all we need is some black, which we used for the actual main colour. So I'll add that there. Nice blob of black. And we are going for some Dragon White by MSP as well. Now we'll easily get the whole of this miniature and the base done today. So that's how quick and easy it'll be for you to do it at home. So I hope you're all following along, kids. It would be nice actually if anybody who's a Goblin patron, it would help if the white comes out. If you do have the actual same miniature, if I can tell you what miniature I'm painting that particular day, you could actually... Oh, the white's not coming out. What's going on here? You could actually paint along with me for the hour. That would be nice. Hi, Ty. Hello, Corey. There we are. My white doesn't seem to be... I think the ball bearing in the white pot has got stuck here. I'm trying to use the pokey stick without poking my fingers. There we go. Try that now. Right, okay, I'm taking the top off. Sometimes you have to go to drastic measures and actually take the end of the... It's when you get to the last couple of drops in your bottles, it can get quite difficult to get the paint out, so I end up just taking the actual top off. And that's not... There's nothing wrong in doing that. It's more than acceptable to remove the top from your paints if you're trying to get the dregs from the bottom. Okay, I'm just using a simple brush here today. Let me just clean my hands because now I've got white paint on the damn things. 1 second. Hi, Stuart. Hi, Gareth. Did I say hello to Gareth the Star Wars man? Okay, let's go. This is our lovely spider. I mean, he looks fantastic just in black. But what we're going to do is I am going to add some black to the palette. Boom, 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 onto my tissue. Lots of black. And we're just going to add a hint of white. What we're trying to do is just make a very, very, very dark grey. Because we don't want it to be ultra bright. We just want a very dark grey going over the whole miniature. Just so that black shines through, like I say. And of course the bottom of the spider, leave that black because that's going to work to your advantage. That's where the shadows lie. So let's go and make a start. So we're just going to start adding this very, very dark grey to the whole of the miniature. This will start picking out all the details. As you can see, it's already starting to pick out the details, and that's all we need to do. Very, very lightly going along all the areas, just picking out. There's lots of potholes and pits all for the little legs of this spider, so we're just trying to pick out all the detail just by giving it a light dry brush over all this carapace. There we go, carapace. And we're just keeping it very, very dark all the time. Like I say, very simple paint today. Absolutely fantastic. If you want to paint spiders, this is an absolutely super duper easy way to just add a little bit of highlight into the spider and keep them looking like creepy crawlies and nastiness. So like I say, all we've got is our dragon black for the actual primer all over the spider. And what we're doing is I've just added a tiny bit of white to the black, just to actually pick out all the details. And we just go over all the areas. And including this big back end. So just slowly go over here. Nothing major. Just picking out all those little dimples. Now I'm leaving all the bottom black, so what we're doing is it's just kind of giving a shade from the bottom dark black going into a little bit lighter. And what we'll do is we shall add a little bit more white right to the top of these areas. But like I say, it's a very simple paint. We're just adding a very dark grey just to pick out the details on this actual spider, and that's all you really need to do to make it look very menacing on the tabletop. Okay. Right, I'm just going to add a tiny bit more white now to this grey. So we've got the black going into a very dark grey. Now we're going to start going into a lighter grey, and again we're just going back over the top. Only a tiny bit though, nothing major. Just on the knuckles of the spider. We're keeping that black, and the black is going to work for us. The black is doing all the work on this miniature. All we're doing is just highlighting some of the details on this spider, and all that black is really playing the game. It's giving us what we need. It's got all the juicy shadows coming up. So all we do is just highlight the highest areas. A little bit more white now. And this will be the final highlight for this colour. So again, we're going back over the highest areas. And again, just on the little knuckles a little bit. There we are. Tiny. It's almost like a shadow spider with that grey. It's beautiful, and it works so well. And it's, like I say, it's such a simple paint to and get an effective finish. Now again, a little bit just on the top here, so very gently we're just going to start adding a little bit more at the top, just going along the back. There we are. And the final finish is a little bit more white, adding into that grey just for the top of his I'm going to call it his sack. I'm just gonna finish this off here. There's a little bit more white added to the grey just to make it a little bit lighter on the highest area. I don't know the correct name for this sack at the back, so I do apologise if I'm calling it this sack. Abdomen. Oh, is his heart? Seriously, is his heart in his abdomen? Really? His heart? There's a spider's heart is in there. Is that right, James? And D. Wow. You'd think, because this is like a soft part of the spider, you know. You'd think the heart of a spider would be under all this armour here, wouldn't you? You've got all this hardcore armour, and yet they put the heart in his sack, in his abdomen. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, that looks creepy as hell now. So we're going to leave that just there for now. I'm going to give my brush a wash. Now what we're going to do now is I'm going to add some of my lovely wood stain brown, which is my lovely dark brown. Heart, lung and stomach all in there. Wow. He's this guy's obviously eaten a lot of cookies. In some species, the abdomen beats with the heart. Wow. It's awesome having friends that keep spiders. I got a friend called Dee and James in chat. They collect spiders. I've never visited their house and probably never will, but I love them anyway. Come to our house for tea. No, it's okay. No. Yes. Okay, right, what we're going to do now is we're going to add a tiny bit of brown, and what I'm going to do is I am going into the brown here, and I'm making this dark brown. It's already a dark brown, but I'm adding black to this brown, and it's going ultra dark brown, ultra dark. So what we're doing now is just in certain areas I'll be adding this brown, and this is mainly around the joints. So a tiny little bit of brown there, a little bit of brown there, just tiny little areas. Thank you for the cheers. Just here, a little bit there, not much at all. It's just a tiny bit of brown. It's almost what with the spiders, they do have fur on their legs. Lots of spiders have fur, tarantulas have fur. Now this miniature is not coming across like it's got any fur on it, but I do like to add a little bit of brown, which is kind of the fur, even though, like I say, this miniature hasn't got any, but I wanted to add a little bit of brown just to break up the actual colours in the black. And we're going to enhance that even more by adding a brown ink wash over this as well anyway. So that's as simple as it gets. Tiny bit of brown, that's all I need. That's all I need. But it's the little things, it's the little things that add that extra to your miniature, and just age it a little bit more and add a little bit more history. A little bit of history added to the miniature in your painting. Okay, so we got the white out. So what I'll do now is we're painting those eyes quickly. Now I'm using a Reaper Miniatures brush now. I've actually started collecting the Reaper brushes now. This is a 0. Normally I use my Army Painter brushes, but I've decided to try out these Reaper brushes to see if they're any good. So what we're going to do is just start with the white. We're just going around all the eyes. Just add in some white, and this will be our initial colour, which will push out the green slime. So when we add the green slime on top, because we've added this white underneath, it will really make the colour of the green stand out more. So it's just a simple case of using this to push the colours out. Okay, we got 2 more here, one there, and there's one on the other side. Okay, so we'll just let that dry for a little bit. Now for these little pincers, we're just going to keep them total black. The pincers will stay totally black, But what I do with the pincers on my spiders is I like to add a gloss varnish just to the pincers. It gives them a nice shine and makes them look more sharper and nasty. So I'll add some varnish, and the varnish I use for gloss, if I can find it. I had it earlier and it's disappeared. There it is. There we are. We've got some Vallejo gloss varnish. It looks like it's white, but it actually dries clear. So if you have got varnish and you paint it onto your miniature and it goes on like a creamy white, don't worry about that, because as soon as it dries it goes crystal clear, so you've got nothing to worry about. I might just do that, Painterly Git. And Painterly Git, look what came today. Look what came today. Painterly Git sent me magnet stickers. So we got magnets, stickers, and I think it's a coffee holder. And absolutely gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. If anybody else wants to do sticker swaps with me and they want to send stickers, more than welcome. Painterly Git, by the way, you put your address on the actual, I know, right, stickers. You've put your address. What I'm going to do is I'm sending you one of our Christmas cards, and I'm sending you the Christmas card was made by Michelle, so I'm sending you a Christmas card. I'm also sending you my Goblin King sticker. I'm sending you my Goblin King sticker. I'm also sending you a Goblin Queen sticker as well, to say thank you very much, Painterly Git. So thank you so much. I shall be getting those stickers to you in the post. If anyone else wants to do sticker swaps, more than happy to do so. I absolutely love stickers. And once again, thank you, Painterly Git, so much for sending me these lovely stickers. Absolutely awesome stuff. Okay, I've now forgotten where I am. Okay, we are now going on to the alien goo. Now, the alien goo is what I'm going to use for the eyes, because it's kind of goes with the spider. It's poisonous. Now, I know real spiders don't have luminous green eyes, unless James in chat tells me they do, and I'll totally believe him. I tell you what, I'd be very scared if I did see a spider with illuminous green glowing eyes, mind you. Oh, I missed it. I missed it. The question. Could you say the question again? I've missed it. It's scrolled up off my screen. Sorry. There we go. Question. Knights of Wrath. Hello, Knights of Wrath. I have a question, Sir Michael. I love him. He calls me Sir Michael. That is so nice. The brown, is it to create a more kind of contrast with the basic base color? Is it also possible to use dark blue to create the same effect, or a darker tone shade? Yes, you can use dark blue. You can use that. It would work nicely. If you actually look at this grey that I've added, it actually looks a little bit like blue. It's actually given it the black, and the dark grey is actually coming across like a blue. Now the browns, of course, the brown is just to take away and add a little bit more to the miniature, and the reason why is because otherwise it's just all black and all grey. So you're trying to add a little bit more of a feel of life in the miniature. So yeah, but yes, dark blue would work perfectly. Dark blue actually would work very well on the hard shell on the back. Okay, let me get these little eyeballs done. Right, I've got to be careful here I don't get any paint on my arms. Again, we're using these nice Reaper brushes. I have to say the Reaper brush is very, very nice. They are a little bit more expensive than Army Painter, and that's probably why I haven't gone for them in the past. I've always stuck with Army Painter mainly because of the price of the brush. Okay, we're just adding this green to the eyes. Like I say, the white is pushing the colour of the green, making it much nicer. And also I shall be adding the same gloss varnish to these eyes. Got a little bit of green on there. There you go. Oh, damn it. Excuse me. Where's my tissues? I've just poisoned the spider's leg. Just poisoned the spider's leg. Let me take that off. 1 second. There we are. If you're quick enough and you get paint in the wrong area, just dip a little tissue into some of your water and you should be able to remove any excess paint that you've put in the wrong place, or like I did, I just hit the leg by accident. So just by wetting a tissue, as long as you're quick enough, you can actually get rid of the actual paint mistake. So there we are, that's our eyes. All we need to do is let that dry. We shall add varnish to the eyes and the teeth. James, what are these called? What are these pointy fangs? Fangs. Hello, cold air. How are you? Oh, mandibles. Was that towel? Of course it's towel. Of course it's towel. Ugh. Trying to embarrass me. They're fangs. They're fangs. Yeah, they are fangs. Okay, let's make a start on the base. Okay, so the base. What we're going to do with the base today is I have Base Boss 160mm Base Boss base. Now all we need to do is we're going to stick this on here with some super glue. Let's just get some super glue out. So when I'm sticking, I use liquid super glue for all my Reaper miniatures, and we just go around the edge. Like so, and it will stick straight on. Now 160mm Base Boss base is the actual perfect size for this spider. They sell these in packs of 4, if I'm not mistaken, on the Reaper website. There's a link to the Reaper website below the video here. And of course that sticks almost instantly, and I've just got super glue on my fingers. I'm surprised it's not actually stuck to my hand. The tiny legs are pedipals. Pedipals? Pedipals? The big teeth are fangs. Pedipals. Sounds like a bicycle, doesn't it? Okay, now also for the base. Now I'm just going to quickly show you roughly what we're doing with the base, but we will get the base finished today. We will get the base finished today with the magic of video. Okay, so for the base we've got some PVA glue, and all I'm going to do is add some stones to this base. And this is I just want to show you this part because it's a very, very, very simple way to make a really nice base, and all we're using is sand from the beach. So all we're doing, I'm just getting some PVA glue. Like I said, I'm just doing this quick and nasty for you, just to give you an idea. We just push the glue right up to the edges of all the base. Get it in there nice and deep. Now you can use ordinary modelling sand, you can use gravel, you can use whatever you like to base this miniature. I just find that using a coarse gravel, because it's like a cavern theme, you can actually just get away with rough stones, little bits of gravel, and you can pick these up on your walks with the dog, going down the beach. Just make sure you wash all your gravel, because if you take any sand from the beaches or anywhere you go, you will be amazed how much how much nastiness is in that sand. So make sure you wash it. And the best way to wash sand and gravel, if you're collecting it for your miniatures, is to actually wash it through a sieve in the house, and then lay it out in the garden on a slab or a piece of wood, and let it air dry with the sun. And that's the best way to dry out a huge amount of sand, and just let it dry naturally that way. Okay, so what I've got here, excuse me, what I got here is my little basin tub. Like I say, this is all sand and stuff from the beach. What I've got in here is a mixture of broken shells, I've got sand, and I've got some medium-sized stones which I've added to the mix. So I like to make lots of different types of mixes. Be a fine mix, heavy mix. So this is a medium mix of sand and different stones, small and large. So we just give that a little tap off, and we make sure before we finish the base, we just use our thumb to take away all the excess and make the rim of the base lovely and neat. Make sure it's all nice and neat. And we just let that dry. That'll take about 2 hours, and that'll be all dry, ready to go. Okay, let's get this out of the way. Go over there. Okay, so we got our base, but we want to finish our miniature today. So, once again, the magic of cinema. Ka-ching! We have a pre-painted version already done. Now, with this base here, again, I've painted the whole of the base in dragon black. Exactly the same thing what I've done. I've added all that sand to the bottom and painted it in dragon black. The only thing different is I added this little altar. This is a graveyard altar by Reaper Miniatures. Now if you're interested in this altar alone, the SKU number is 77639 on the Reaper website, and you can buy this little altar as it is, but it just works absolutely beautiful. And our spider will go here, and that altar will be just underneath. It'll look absolutely fab. Monkey magic. Okay, so we can get this base done, and we are good to go. Now for the base, I am just going to use some, this is the Game Master paint here that I've been using for my models, and it's just a grey paint, and we're going to just lava this up and dry brush it over the whole of the actual base here. Very, very simple. And then we'll add some white and we'll be good to go. Let's give it a little mix up. Spiders want hugs. There we are. So get this paint out here, and again we're going back to that dry brush. I think we'll go extra large this time. Go extra large. Let me just get some more tissue. Now I'll say this again, I repeat myself a lot on these videos, but it's so everybody learns. And that is, when you do dry brushing, whatever you do, do not use toilet paper. Now I know many of you do use toilet paper. I've used toilet paper in the past to dry my brushes, and it's a cheap and easy way to get a tissue for your workspace. But if you are dry brushing, you want a nice strong tissue. You don't want toilet paper because it goes through. Your fingers go through the toilet paper. So you want to keep it nice and strong, and you can't go wrong. Simple as that. Okay, so this will be a blast. Like I say, this is a fantastic little base. What's crazy about this base is once it's all been painted, you're not actually going to see it once the miniature is added. And of course, we shall be adding our web effects as well. So we're going to be adding those spiders, webs. Remember, like I showed you on the spider diorama I made a few weeks back? We'll do the same with this base as well. We'll add some nice spider webs just dotted around the actual base. So the first initial layer is everything adds a nice strong coating of grey, and then we'll start going into that white. We'll add a little bit more white to the grey, but we'll carry on just with the same grey to start with. And the same with the altar. The altar is all the same stone, so we can just go straight over the altar. Just picking out all the detail. Again, the black is doing all the work for us. All our shades, all our shadows are coming from that black. So you really are saving a lot of work by using a black primer on these minis. And of course, anything from the underworld, anything from the underdark, black is the way to go if you want that ultimate nasty dark look for your Dungeons and Dragons games. So we keep on going around, making sure it's got a nice even coat of grey. And then we add a little bit of white to that grey, a little bit of grey. And then we start again. This time not so heavy, and just on the edges of the rocks. On the stairs. Let's go up the stairs. On the altar, top of the altar. Quickly go around the altar. And just a little bit on the actual floor. And just keep working our way around. Okay, adding a little bit more white. This is the last highlight we want. Again, lighter, and again the highest areas, and just on the edges of the steps, edges of the rocks, top of the rock there, bum bum bum, up the steps, and just a little bit on the altar. Don't need a lot at all. Awesome stuff. So we've got a lovely looking Gothic style dungeon area. All we need to do now, I'm going to start adding some green just to highlight. I mean, you all know how much I love the green. So we're going into some turf green now. I'll just give my brush a wash. Oh, dry brushing terrain and everything is the best. I absolutely love painting rocks and stuff like that. It's just great fun, and like I say, I love speed painting, and if I get lost in what I'm doing, and you know, you can get a few models done up in an hour or so, and it's just great fun. Yes, I'd love to see that, Stuart. I would really love to see that. Okay, so I'm using some turf green now. Now the green is just to age the area as well. And again, we just I'm going down back to a smaller brush now. We'll go back to a smaller brush, and that's a very simple effect as well. All we're doing is it's quite a dark green, but we don't need to add anything to this green. And all I'm doing is going around the very bottoms of all the areas we've just gone. Nothing heavy, but it just adds a little bit extra to the base of the miniature, and makes it look kind of mouldy. And the pillar there. Like I say, you're not actually going to see hardly any of this once this spider is actually mounted onto the base. You're actually going to lose a lot of what you've done, but I do like to complete all my bases. The only thing I do suggest is you don't need to paint the bottoms of these miniatures, but you do need to finish off your base, because the difference is you'll see the base, and if you miss a part of the base from underneath, it looks wrong. But with the actual miniature, it actually looks like it's part of the miniature and part of the shadows from the underbelly of your spider. So it's important to try and get as much of the base done as possible, just for your own personal pleasure as well. Okay, now this miniature does have some skulls and bones lying around on the top, so we're going to quickly paint them in, and that'll take 5 seconds. I'll just give this brush a wash. So for the, what have we got here? We got skeleton bone. I mean, you can't go wrong with skeleton bone, can you? I mean, we're painting skeletons, so hey, skeleton bone. So we'll give that a quick mix. No, we never leave those bottoms alone. Okay, so skeleton bone on the palette. Again, very, very quick and simple. I'll just carry on that one brush. We shall pick this up here, and we'll just fly around all the little skellies. There's one there, there's a little skull there. So we'll just quickly paint these in. Now all you need to do with the skeletons is we just add in a hint of the paint, because what we do with the old bones and skeleton is we shall go over these with a brown ink wash. So if you make any kind of little mistakes with your painting, the brown ink wash often covers them up, but what we do is we just go over little parts of the areas which has got little bits of bone. You don't have to do every single one, because again, you're not going to see it once the spider is on top, but we do try to paint as much as possible, so you can actually see what's going on. So just certain areas, we've got little bones here, so I'm just picking out the bones around this diorama base. There we are, another skull there. And of course, like I say, once these are dry, we can just go over with a nice brown ink wash, and that'll pick out the sockets of the actual skellies. There we are. One in the corner there. Sometimes it's easier just to give a hint of colour than actually paint the whole thing, because everything here will be in shadow because of the spider will be above it. All we're trying to do is get an outline of the actual bones and all the actual broken parts laying around this miniature. So just a little hint of what you're doing around the base. Okay, so that is actually looking really nice now. Question. The green is to represent mosses. Yes, moss, algae. I've said this many times to you before. If you Google any rocks or castles or old buildings, what you'll find, when Scorpio and myself, we take Bonnie, my Jack Russell, for a walk, there's a path that goes through the woods. And in the woods there, we've got this lovely, really old wall. It must be a couple of 100 years old, this wall. And all along the bottom of this wall, it's all green and all mossy. And it's absolutely beautiful. And it's really, really old, you know. And I try to implement that into what I do with my miniatures. So looking at Google, looking at old pictures, you'll find that you're using your green. Really works well, and I use it on everything. It does. I just find, I mean, personally as well, this is almost like a spider's lair. It's a spider's lair. So it's the green is also working well with the spider as well. I mean, all I've done, I've painted the green eyes on the spider, but that's actually contrasting well with the actual base, with the green on the base. So it actually has this method painting. It's actually quite nice. Okay, so I shall add this brown ink wash now. It's just Agrax shade, and I'll just add that to the skulls, and we are nearly finished. And that's absolutely super fast, awesome paint. Just use an old brush for this. Like I say, it doesn't take long to paint a nice little mini, and all we're doing is going over the bones with our brown. There we are. Just going over all those bones that we just painted. A little bit of brown. That blends it in, and of course, and it makes the bones all dirty. The ink wash goes into the eye sockets and the mouth of the skeletons, which also makes them look more creepy. And also what I like to do with the brown is on the rocks of my miniatures, in certain parts, you'll see all the cracks and crevices going around the rocks. I will just follow a couple of the lines around and add a little bit of brown to certain areas of the rocks. This just gives a little bit of extra colour and breaks up the dark grey. So what we're doing is just adding a little bit of brown here and there. What you'll find is you've got a natural breaks in the rock, and you can just paint little sections, a bit like when you do cobblestones when you're painting castles. You can actually paint the separate stones just to give a variation in colour to the actual tiles, and we do the same with rocks. So we just add in some browns, some greys and blacks, and you end up with a very, very nice effect, and it really does work well. Okay, so that is roughly our base. Absolutely awesome stuff, super fast and easy to paint. All we need to do now to finish this spider off is we can add some cobwebs. Let's see how we're doing for time. Wow, that's time went fast, didn't it? Okay, we're going to quickly do the cobwebs, and we shall get this finished. We shall get this finished before the hour is up. Okay, so now Halloween has just finished. So you've probably all got these still. You've probably all got your spider's webs, and I hope you all kept your spider's webs. Did you all keep your spider's webs? I told you to keep your spider's webs. Now, the spider's webs that you've been hanging around, and your kids have been running around the house trying to strangle you with it, this is the stuff you want to keep to make your spider's web with for your bases. So all you need to do is cut off a little bit of just cut off a little bit from your pile of goo, pile of spider's webs. This is let me see what it's called. I think you all know what this stuff is. Okay, so what it is with this stuff that you buy is a cotton, and you stretch it, and the more you stretch it, the more and more it looks like spider's webs. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to cut it again, and I'm going to cut it again here, because I don't want it to be over cobwebby, but I want it to actually look cool on the base. So you want to get rid of these nasty little bits. Sometimes it gets a bit stringy, so you want to get rid of these stringy bits. Now, it does stick to your fingers. It can be a bit annoying, but it's worth the actual hassle. So what we need to do now is get some super glue, and what I'm going to start doing is stretching this out around the base. Now it seems crazy for me to do it now after I've done all that hard work painting, but if we stretch it around, you can actually make it very, very see-through, so you can still kind of see what I've been up to. But the key is to stretch it as much as possible to make it as thin as possible, and just stretch it around your miniature. And because we've got all this craggly bits, it will stick to the actual base. So we're just pulling it around. And just pulling it, dragging it across the tops of your rocks, and then pushing it down with my fingers onto these rocks, and it will stay there. It will stay there. And then of course you can take bits off, and again we're just trying to get the most thinnest parts possible, making it look there. That's perfect. There. So let's have a closer look. As you can see, what we've done now, so we've added all this here. Now what I'll do is I'll add tiny drops of super glue to these areas, and that'll stick this permanently onto our base. Hello Tim, and yes, it does need a little Frodo. How cool would that be? A little Frodo just there. So that's the base. I shall stick that on, but let me show you the spider before we say goodnight. All you need to do is super glue this cotton on, but what we got here on the base, we have some little holes which the spider's legs go in, which I shall be gluing to the base. That one goes in there. Now there's another one here somewhere. There it is. And there's one at the back that you glue in as well. Now I shall glue this all together after the show, but I wanted to show you the miniature completed as it is. So there we are. So this is today's miniature. This is what we've this is Arakoth. I couldn't remember the name of it. This is Arakoth, the ancient one, the ancient spider. And like I say, a very simple paint to do. Lots of blacks, greys, a little bit of green, a little bit of brown, a bit of brown ink wash. Got some spider's webs. And I think that's scary enough to go in anybody's Dungeons and Dragons game. So there we are. Absolutely awesome stream. I absolutely loved that. I probably had more fun than you guys. Anyway, thank you all so much for popping onto the stream. I shall be back on Thursday, and Thursday we're back doing some WizKids miniatures. So until then, have an absolutely beautiful week. Thank you all again for supporting the channel. Loads of love to every single one of you, and I shall say good night and take care, everybody.